Most people believe that happiness is all about receiving things, but I beg to differ. I mean, think about it. How many people do you know that receives things in life, that gets things, but yet they're still not happy? As if no matter what it is they get, no matter what good that people do for these kinds of people, somehow it is never good enough. And the reason why they feel like it's never good enough is because they feel like they themselves are not good enough. And since they feel like they're not enough, not good enough, they can't find happiness that way. So if you find that you're one of these kinds of people where you feel like you're not good enough, then listen on, because I'm going to talk about how you can reverse your way of thinking so you can get that happiness that you deserve. But you have to do something first. You have to first take control over your inner self-talk, all right? The inner critic. And all of us have a voice in our heads that speaks to us subconsciously. You can call it the inner critic, or some people might call it the pathological critic. But this voice that speaks to you on a subconscious level, it always comes up whenever you make mistakes. Whenever you make mistakes, or whenever you attempt to make a change that will bring you towards happiness, then this voice is always going to come up and tell you and try to convince you that you're not good enough. Or it might even try to compare you to other people. It might tell you things like, well, that person's doing good in their life, but that's not you because you don't have the talent like they do. You're not good enough like they are. And it just goes on and on. Now, I'm going to tell you the problem with listening to this voice. The more you listen to this voice, what this voice is selling you, right? The more you listen to this voice, eventually you're going to start to believe it. You're going to believe what this voice is telling you. You're going to be convinced that you're not good enough. And the more you convince yourself that you're not good enough, then that's going to control your actions. That's going to control your behavior. So then listen to this voice long enough, it can and will prevent you from moving towards things that make you happy. It can even bring you down towards depression. Because if you find people that's depressed, severely depressed, and that's only because they let their inner self-talk convince them that they're not good enough, that they're a lousy person, they're no good person. All right, so people carry this voice around and then they just let it bring them down, and they're down for the count. And they stay down as long as they continue to listen to that voice. Now, if you want to lift yourself up again and you want to move towards happiness, you have to first counterattack, reverse what that inner voice is telling you. So for instance, if something in your heart, in your mind tells you that you're not good enough, then I want you to convince yourself on on the fact that you are good enough. And I want you to think about reasons too. When you think about why you're good enough, and why you feel like you deserve to make this change, then your brain subconsciously is going to come up with all kinds of reasons. And then the more reasons it comes up on why you feel like you're capable of making this change, then the more that inner critic is going to just fade away. It's going to fade away because you're convinced now. You're convinced now that you have what it takes to make this change. And the more you convince yourself that you have what it takes to make this change, that's going to control your behavior also, because you're going to have a good level of self-confidence that you felt like you never had before. And then you're going to feel like a whole new person. And when you feel like a whole new person, that means you're on fire. That means that you can take on challenges in life that gets in the way, because you have a strong belief about who you are as a person. Now, who you are as a person, your characteristic traits is what you have to focus on also. You have to think about what kind of person you are. Are you a person of determination? Are you a person of open-mindedness? Are you a person of certain kind of intelligence? Are you a person who's compassionate? See, whatever personality trait that you have, whichever one that makes you feel like you're being yourself, that's the kind of person that you want to bring more of. Bring that out. All right, bring it out. Every single day, you should be expressing a version of your personality because you value that part of yourself. If you're having a hard time understanding about what personality trait that makes you who you are, then think about the compliments that you receive from other people. Think about what people's told you in the past. If you have to get help from somebody, talk to a good friend that knows you real well and ask them to describe your personality. And then convince yourself, if you believe that's who you are, then that's the kind of personality trait that you want to live by. But I want you to also put some effort into this also. I want you to think about really who you are. Do some soul searching. See, the whole purpose of living life is to express yourself. Because the more you're being true to who you are, the more you express yourself, then the more happy you are. So I want you to set goals for yourself. And when you set goals for yourself, it's not just about achieving the goal, but it's really who you're becoming in the process. The kind of person that you're expressing while you're reaching that goal. See, you want to soak in the process. Every single day, you should always have something to look forward to. You should always think about what you want to accomplish and then move in that direction, because it's the process that makes you happy, because you're expressing a certain part of your personality. That's how you find happiness. Now, I feel a strong need to say this. You need to receive things, all right? We all need to receive things in life. Yes, we do need to get things in life. But the problem is that when people are very much unhappy, they can get things and still not be happy, as I mentioned earlier. And when they get things, they still not happy, then they feel like they're not enough. So it's all about reversing that way of thinking and convincing yourself that you are enough. And then think about why you feel like you're enough. Make sure you block out what that inner voice is telling you. Don't be convinced about a past mistake that you made, because every time you make a mistake, that subconscious voice is always going to come up and remind you that since you screwed this up, it's going to remind you what else you screwed up on in the past. So block that voice out. Every time that voice tells you that you're not enough, I want you to convince yourself on reason why you feel like you are enough. And have a goal, have a sense of direction in life. Part of the reason why people are unhappy is because they don't have no sense of direction. They don't have no sense of direction because, one, they don't know who they are. And they don't know who they are, it's hard for them to see value in who they are. See, when you see value, when you know who you are and you see value in that person, you see value in your characteristic traits, that's self-esteem. And the higher your self-esteem, the more happier you'll become. So get in the habit of making sure that you do some soul searching. Make sure you find out. Think about, listen to your heart. All right, listen to what's inside. Well, listen to what feels good to you. Because whatever it is you're doing or you've done before, if it made you feel good, then it's a good possibility that right there will bring you towards happiness, because you're expressing a certain part of your personality that you probably value the most, or you'll learn to value the most because it makes you feel good. Don't listen to what that voice is telling you, the inner critic. Just block that out and focus on what's good about you, and you'll find happiness. All right. Well, this is all I'm gonna leave for you for tonight. I want to thank you for watching this video. And I know it's been a minute since I've posted anything on YouTube, but I'm back on track now. So if you like this video, just hit the thumbs up, like, and I do put out content on a weekly basis. So thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your night.